Hello, welcome to A Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. It is Tuesday. I'm here at Tag Tuesday. I was tagged 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I was just tagged, but I don't think this video is going to come out for 3 weeks because I try to keep my tags to Tuesdays. But yeah, I'm here to do the library tag, and I'm super excited about this one. This was created by BookBuds, and then I was tagged by Angelia at Read and Reread. Now, there's 2 sets of questions here. It's kind of like when I did my book club tag, I had 2 sets of questions. So there's one if you use the library a lot, and one if you don't use the library at all. And down below, I'll put both sets of questions, but I'm a library user, so I'm going to use the first set of questions. So the first one is, how often do you go to the library? So I would say, until my kids were a bit older, we would go, we would have a day of the week that was our library day. It was easier to remember to get books and take them back that way. These days, I don't go as often because most of my library usage is digital, so I don't actually have to go to the library. So now I just come in if I have a physical book that's on hold that I need to pick up, or if there's a library book sale. So now it kind of varies, but I use my library quite a bit. Like, I am on Libby multiple times a day. I am on the library website at least 3 times a week. But just physically going there, not as often as I used to, just changing times, changing media, that sort of thing. Question 2, do you belong to more than one library system? So my home library is the Washington County Community Library Service here in Oregon. So it's like Hillsborough, Beaverton, Forest Grove, all kind of west of Portland. And I have been, this particular card has my married name on it, so it's over 16 years old. It's before they gave the keychain cards, so I'm the only person in my family who doesn't have a keychain card for this library. So yeah, I have this one. And then in the state of Oregon, anyone who lives in the state of Oregon is eligible for a Multnomah County card. Multnomah County is the city of Portland. Most of Portland's in Multnomah County, and it's a pretty big library system. You can sign up online, and then you have 6 months to physically go into a library and verify your address, or you can just sign up at the library. I did this once, I think during the pandemic, but then I didn't get to a library, so my card went away. But I did it again. And last weekend, as I'm filming this, which was when I saw Bookish Best Friend downtown to go see a play, my MAX stop, the train stop, is at the public library. So I just stopped in, and now I have a Multnomah County card, which also has a keyring card, which is all very cool. I will probably never physically use this card. I really wanted it because the Multnomah County Library has a much larger digital library than the Washington County Library does. There are a lot of titles, ebooks and audiobooks. I can't get through Washington County, but I can get through Multnomah County, including a series of recordings of Shakespeare plays that I use in my Shakespeare project. So I could go into a Multnomah County library. It's not that hard. There are locations that aren't that far from me. The MAX line, as I said, the stop is right at the main branch. I could go and physically check out a book. I don't think I ever would because I don't think I'd have the need for that. But I do use their digital system quite a bit. And then I also have a digital only card from the Howard County Library, I believe that's what it is, in Texas, which I got a while ago. Kind of as a backup, and I really just kind of use it as a backup now. I think I have one book on it that is not at either Washington County or Multnomah County. And mostly I wanted to get a card in a state where maybe knowledge is a little bit under attack, so I wanted to support the library there. So I have one of their cards. Helps with their stats. So technically I have 3. Okay. What percent of books do you read come from the library? So before I did this, I looked on my spreadsheet, and it's about 28%. The reason why I say it's about is that I know that 27.6% comes from the Washington County Library. There's also the sliver for other libraries, which is either Howard County or Multnomah County. It's very small. Plus, the books that the Shakespeare plays aren't counted in there, so it's probably like 28%, which is a little bit lower than usual, but that is mostly because I'm trying and failing horribly to make a dent in my owned book collection so that I can be more of a library user. The library's great. I always have library books going. You know, I have two right now that I have to take back to the library because I just finished them. And so, yeah. I mean, I would use a library more, but I'm trying to get to the point where I can use a library more because I have fewer books here, but that's not working very well. We'll see. Okay. Do you listen to audiobooks or get ebooks from the library, or are you hooked on Audible or Amazon or something else? So obviously I get a lot of ebooks from the library. That's the main way I get books from the library now. I do get audiobooks. I'm more selective on getting audiobooks from the library because it takes me longer to get through an audiobook, and lots of times I can't get through it in the loan time. So that's why I have both a Libro and an Audible account. I hate Audible. I hate it. I only have it because, unfortunately, there are books on Audible, audiobooks on Audible you can't get anywhere else. But what I did was I bought like a block of 12 credits, and I use those for the kids now. If they need it, unless there's one that I need that's only on Audible, otherwise the kids can use those credits. But I do have a Libro account that I will use. I think I have credits waiting for me right now. I also have a lot of audiobooks waiting to be read, but I do also get them from the library. I do have one right now from the library. I'm not sure I'm going to have a chance to get to it in time, but we'll see. But yeah, ebooks, that's mainly what I get from there. If I get them from Washington County, they go right onto my Kobo. It's super easy through Overdrive. Unfortunately, you can only have one library card on it, as far as I can tell. But if I get it through Multnomah County or Howard County, I can send them to my Kindle, so it's not a big deal. Okay, number 5. Did you go to story time at the library as a kid? I do not remember my library having story time. They may have, and I just didn't go. But I think that if they did, I would have gone, because that's something my mother would have taken me to. So my guess is they didn't have it. I do remember them having other things. Like I remember once they did a showing of The Wizard of Oz and I went to go see it. So I know I did other activities like it, which makes me think they didn't have story time. Now, when my kids were little, we did a lot of story time. Story time was a great thing, especially for my son when my daughter was in preschool. Like we had that block of time where it was just the two of us, and I would take him to story times then to give him something kind of fun and enriching to do while she was at preschool. It was a little harder when it was two of them because their story times were by age, and sometimes they were in 2 different age groups. So, but no, we did a lot of story times when the kids were little. 6. Have you ever borrowed a movie or video game from your library? I've actually gotten a lot of movies from the library. Now that we have like every streaming service that there is, it's been a while since I've gotten a movie from the library, but I used to get a lot. I've never gotten a video game from the library. I'm not a video gamer. But my Hillsborough Library has like the largest collection of board games to check out in the state of Oregon. And I would love very much to check some board games out. And the only reason I haven't is that my kids, when we play a board game, cannot get all the pieces back in the box. None of the games that we own have all the pieces because we play it once and not all the pieces get back in the box. And I know they would do that to a library game, so that's why we haven't done it. But that's the only reason why we haven't done it. I think it's great that they offer like board games, because board games are really expensive, especially some of the really nice ones. They are super expensive. And they're not something that you're playing all the time. You can get it for a party and play it and give it back, and it's of no cost to you. So I think that's a wonderful thing for libraries to have. Okay. Have you ever gotten fined for returning books late? If so, how do you feel about that? Yes. My library's gotten rid of its library fees. Plus, when you check out things through Libby, they can't be overdue because they'll just go away. So it's not an issue anymore. But yes, in my life, I've had late books. And when the kids were little and we were checking out like 30 picture books a week, making sure that 30 picture books got back on time sometimes didn't work very well. So there were frequently fees then, usually just like a week or so. But I did not feel that guilty about it, and I will tell you why. I have a degree in medieval history, and one thing that one of my beloved medieval history professors told me is that at that time they thought of fines very differently than what we think of fines. So we think of fines as a punishment. You're being punished for keeping this book late. They would have thought of it as a privilege. You are paying so that you can keep this book late. Now, I never kept a book late intentionally, unless it was like I had like 20 pages left to go and couldn't finish in time, something like that. But I didn't think of it as long as I got it back within a week, I felt okay. And I never intentionally kept things long. If they were overdue, it was because I just couldn't get to the library on the day they were due, or I just wasn't quite finished with them. So I didn't feel bad about it. I actually used to work in a library. My favorite jobs ever were in libraries. And the library I worked at, which was the Salem Public Library, which I hope is still open because they wanted to close the whole system, but that's a whole other thing. They would do one day a year, they would do a deal where you could bring in canned food to pay for your library fines. Like one can is worth $1. And there'd be people who'd have like $40, $50 fines. And they would just come in with big things of cans of food for the food bank. And I thought that was pretty cool too. Just saying. Do you attend special events, groups, or book sales at the library? Yes. So I do have one of my book clubs is through the library. It's the my Diverse Voices book club. And it's through the library, but we meet on Zoom. I would be fine going to the library to do it. It's on Saturday mornings. It's not an issue. I mean, I would be fine doing it at the library. I'm fine doing it at Zoom. We will continue doing it on Zoom because we have some members who actually don't live in the area, and also some members with some mobility issues. So it's just easier for them to do it on Zoom, and I'm fine with that. I have gone to some special events. I once went to a little tea with the author Amy Stewart, who wrote the Cop Sister books. My son, just a few months ago, did D&D through the library. And of course, you've seen my book haul. I go to the book sale. There's the book sale, and then there's the Friends of the Library bookstore, which is always there. And I always check. They have a nice selection, but doesn't always turn over super quickly. So it's usually just kind of, I have some books in mind. I just go check to see if they're there. And if they're there, I get them because they're like $3 or $4. And if not, I just go home. I don't usually go crazy at that. It's just the library book sale. That's where I go crazy. Okay, number 9. Have you ever given or taken a book from a Little Free Library, a book box, or a book swap? I have. I am a big fan of Little Free Libraries. I would have a Little Free Library if you've seen not my I'm so annoyed tag, but my video I did where I was so annoyed that Kelly made into a tag. I would love to have a Little Free Library. Love it. And the reason I don't have it is in my neighborhood, I don't know who they are. I do not know who they are, but there are some very disrespectful dog owners. The dogs are great. The owners suck. And they will pick up the dog poop in bags, but then instead of taking the bag to a garbage can, they hide them places. Like we have like this little like faux retaining wall, and then there's our fence, so there's a little gap. It's full of dog poop bags. I'm like, I don't own a dog. Why am I cleaning up after you? Anyway, I can guarantee, if I had a Little Free Library, it would be full of dog poop. That's why I don't have one. But I love Little Free Libraries. And I frequently drop books off, as I talk about. I don't pick up books a lot because I'm pretty picky about what I get. But what I do, and I've mentioned this, you probably have already seen it because it was in a vlog. I do book crossing. So I get these, this is a book one of my kids is donating and wants me to put out. I get these little labels so I can register the book on Book Crossing. And then if someone picks up the book and they're so inclined, they can go to bookcrossing.com and enter in the number. And they don't have to enter in any other information. They just put in the number. So you don't need to put personal information in. And can just say, hey, I picked up this book at this time, or I'm dropping this book off at this. And then you can kind of keep a record of where your book goes. Now, it's like 1 out of 40 books someone will actually do that for, but I do it anyway. It's fun. I think it's a fun way, and every once in a while, I get a little ding that someone has filled it out. But yes, I have a lot of books that I need to put labels in, but I'm waiting for my new order of labels to come in. And I think that once that comes in, my daughter and I are going to do a little tour in our town and find some new Little Free Libraries and drop them off. So yeah. Okay, number 10. Does your librarian know you by name? 2 of them do because they lead my library book group. But they're the only 2. And one thing that I think is a little bit bittersweet is that it is now, you can go to a library and never interface with a librarian. You go in, you find your books, you check out at a machine, you leave. they have librarians there. I don't even think librarians check out books anymore unless there's like some kind of problem. So there's really no, I mean, it used to be you had to talk to a librarian to check out your books. I mean, that was the deal. You went to them and checked the books, and now you don't do that. So no, they don't know my names. I probably wouldn't even recognize most of them because I don't see them. I just go in and get my books, because usually when I go into the library to get books, I have them on hold. So I just go to the hold shelf and get them. And yeah, and then I check the book out on my own. I am much more likely to interface with library volunteers than librarians. Just that's the way it's set up. And I think that's kind of sad, because I think that librarians are so valuable. Valuable. I can't even talk. Valuable. There's the word. And they offer such a service to the community. And it's kind of sad now that we don't even interact with them. So yeah. Okay, tag someone. I made a list. Where'd my list go? I was trying to be prepared and I made a list. And where'd my list go? Okay, I don't know where my list went. So I'm going to tell you who I think's on the list. Erin at Erin Go Live. Jennifer at Jennifer Loves Books. She lives in the UK. If you don't know her, you should follow her if you don't know her. And I know she's a big library user. And I want to know if there's differences between like American libraries and English libraries. And Maria Andrea. I think that's who I had planned to tag. I don't know where my tag went, but so those three. And of course, if you see this video and you're not tagged, you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. Just tag me back so I can see your video. Thank you very much. Like, comment, join my Discord, and I'll see you next time. Bye.